Back with us on the SportsMax Zone. The besieged former president of the TTFA, Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, David John Williams, has issued another statement defending his role in the construction of the Home of Football project in TNT. John Williams' third statement on the matter, which runs 20 pages, sees him addressing what he calls the untruths, distortions, and falsehoods made by investigative journalist Mark Bassant and Guardian Media Limited. So, this is what he's saying. Further to my statements, September 17 and 18, I continue to expose the untruths of Guardian Media Limited and Mark Bassant. It is clear GML's and Bassant's articles and television news stories have used the poor reputation which football administration at the global level has earned itself in the past as a cover for making inaccurate, careless, and unsubstantiated allegations against me in the obvious hope the public, jaded by stories of corruption at the global level in the past, will today accept, without question, the false and the distorted imputations and insinuations that they have determined to make against me. John Williams continues, I am neither responsible for, nor have I ever been a part of the debacle which played out at the level of global football administration in the past. And to the extent permitted by my attorneys, it is my intention to continue to expose the false and distorted allegations and insinuations against me, which GML and Mark Bassant have been setting the public under the guise of investigative journalism. Right? That's his statement. Before we go further, he spoke of his attorneys in this statement. In the first statement, he spoke of his attorneys. The second statement, he did so. And in this third statement, without naming them, we found out who his attorneys are. And his attorneys, one of the oldest law firms in Trinidad and Tobago, Fitzwilliam, Stone, Furness, Smith, and Morgan. This started with the founding partner in 1912. This company was registered, the business name rather, was registered in Trinidad and Tobago. In 1923, they were the 44th company to register their business name in Trinidad and Tobago's history. That's how long they have been around. Very, very old, very reputable. John Williams says this is the law firm that is representing his interests in this matter between him and Guardian Media Limited and Mark Bassant. So, further on in his 20-page apologia, John Williams makes what he calls 3 statements of fact to counter what he lists as 3 false statements by Bassant and Guardian Media. He said, John Williams, that the first false statement is this, and he's quoting from Mark Bassant's report. John Williams received 2 tranches of FIFA 4 development program money. The second was received earlier than usual from FIFA in January 2019, an election year for TTFA and choosing a new president. It was then that FIFA allotted $2 million in funding to the Home of Football through the FIFA Forward Development Program. This project, Mark Bassant said, was expected to pump new life into the veins of local football, but instead, 2017, notice the dates there, proved to be challenging to the TTFA and football. John Williams then offers what he calls this statement of fact to counter what he calls Mark Bassant's falsehoods. I want you to stay with me. This is his statement of fact. He says, FIFA did not allot $2 million in 2017 to the TTFA in funding towards Home of Football project. Under the FIFA 4 development program, which covered the period 2016 to 2018, FIFA allocated $750,000 US per year for special projects, including Home of Football. the TTFA did not receive the sum of $2 million, whether earlier than usual in January 2019, as stated by Bassant, or at all. Under the FIFA Development Program, 2019 to 2022, as a FIFA member association, the TTFA, he underlines, was allocated, difference between being allocated and receiving, was allocated the sum of $1.3 million US, not $2 million US per annum to be applied. Then he gives a breakdown of the application. He goes further. At January 2019, TTFA had not received the full allocation of $1.3 million. What the TTFA did receive, John Williams says, was $700,000 US, broken down, $400 for operational costs, $400,000 US, $100,000 to pay part of a loan, $200,000 for travel and accommodations for national teams, and $100,000 US for basic sports equipment. Now, if I may pause here, Mr. Producer, item number 4 says the TTFA did receive $700,000 US. When you add, though, the 3 bullet points and the sums mentioned, that's $800,000 US. So I'm wondering if it's a computational error by John Williams, or a more grave error, because he says 400,000 for operational costs plus 100,000 for a loan, that's 500, plus 200,000 for travel and accommodation, that's 700, and 100 for basic sport equipment, that's 800. So there's a discrepancy between the 700,000 he mentions and what the breakdown actually accumulates to. So that's something that he may need to straighten out. He continues that under the FIFA development program, TTFA was also allocated $2 million to be drawn down over 4 years from 2019 to 2022. Yeah? So what he's saying right here is that Mark Besant says, I got 2 million US, the TTFA. We did not get 2 million US. John Williams says we were allocated 1.3 million US, but we only got 700,000. So that's what he says is his rebuttal to false statement number 1 made by the journalist Mark Besant, working on behalf of Guardian Media Limited. John Williams then zeroes in on the claim from Besant that he, John Williams, paid for material for the Home of Football project from bank accounts not held by the TTFA. He says, Ecotech, which is a Panamanian company, well, this is Mark Besant's words now. Ecotech's commercial director acknowledged that payment by the TTFA would be made via RBC Bank and Republic Bank. Remember those two banks. The fact, however, was that TTFA's 3 known bank accounts are First Citizens bank accounts, and these were where FIFA deposited money that was used for the project. Mark Besant, when he confronted John Williams on the golf course, said to him, I have invoices from Jose Alvarado at Ecotech that speaks to monies being sent to his account from Royal Bank and Republic Bank, invoices for the material you, John Williams, ordered from Panama. Why did you, John Williams, use the Republic Bank and Royal Bank accounts to pay Ecotech? Whose accounts are those? Because I know the TTFA has FCB accounts. If you remember that now viral image of John Williams on the golf court being confronted by Mark Besant with his documents in hand, those were the questions that Mark Besant put to John Williams. John Williams has now offered this rebuttal to the position taken by Mark Besant. He says, the TTFA did not operate any account at RBC or Republic Bank during my John Williams' tenure as president. He says, at no time did Ecotech request the TTFA to pay its invoice via RBC and Republic Bank. TTFA paid Ecotech's invoice from its US FIFA funds account at First Citizens Bank. Now, the reason John Williams' statement is 20 pages long is because he has appended several invoices and other transfers to verify his claims, to support his denial of wrongdoing. This is a copy of a bank transfer he supplied the media with. Well, this is the letter for FIFA. There's a bank transfer of First Citizens Bank in the amount of $282,000. That's right, here we go. Thank you very much. He's saying that this bank transfer document proves, now John Williams is saying this proves where monies came from to pay Ecotech in Panama. If you see the figure there, if you can see US dollar equivalent 282,489, there's a commission of $9.58 US, taking the grand total paid to Ecotech to $282,428 US dollars and 55 cents. The intermediary bank is Citibank in New York, and the beneficiary name of the account is, well, Ecotech Panama, and it lists the address, and it has 3 signatures under the bottom, and it has a stamp of February 21, 2018, a First Citizens Bank stamp. So John Williams is saying, whereas Mark Besant claimed that I paid Ecotech out of an RBC and a Royal Bank account, I have a documentary proof. I have a bank transfer from First Citizens Bank to Ecotech via Citibank in New York, proving that that is where I paid the monies from. So John Williams is using that as a rebuttal of what Besant claims in his documentary, and of course in the newspaper piece which followed from that documentary on the Panama Trail. John Williams then homes in on what he says is another false statement from Besant about a loan he, John Williams, took from CONCACAF. Now, this is what Besant said. FIFA's Veron Mosengo Omba failed to inform Wallace, meaning William Wallace, the man who succeeded David John Williams as TTFA president. So Veron Mosengo Omba failed to inform William Wallace that John Williams had already received that money in January 2019, monies that still remain unaccounted for. Just like the CONCACAF loan that David John Williams applied for in 2016 and was granted in May 2017, a loan no one knew he had taken to this day and that we, Guardian Media Limited, uncovered during our investigation. John Williams is saying not so. This is his response to that claim. He says, the TTFA did not receive all of the money. Well, he supplied 3 copies of he provided 3 statements taken from 3 annual reports of the TTFA. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Annual reports. I need the annual reports. Here we go. Thank you very much. So he's showing, John Williams is showing. This is taken from the minutes, well, the financial statements rather, the audited financial statements of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. John Williams is taking this page from that to show that there was a loan from CONCACAF in the amount of $400,000 obtained on March 1, 2016, and that it would mature a year later, March 1, 2017. It would attract no interest-free, maturity date, and it was obtained to assist with costs for national team and so forth. December 31, 2016. This was from that audited financial statement. Then John Williams comes again. He provides another page. December 31, 2017 from the audited financial statements of that year to show that there was a loan from CONCACAF for $600,000, amended January 1, 2017, interest free, matures 12 months later, well, 11 months later, December 1, 2017. Then he goes again, December 31, 2018, from the audited financial statements of that year to say, this is the loan for CONCACAF again, $600,000, amended on January 1, 2017, December 1, 2017 is when it becomes due, it matures, and this was in the audited financial statement. So what John Williams is showing from these documents, he's saying, contrary to what Basan said, that I took the loan from CONCACAF and nobody at the level of the TTFA knew about it. John Williams is saying, well, how come nobody knew about it when this loan was recorded as part of the audited financial statements of the TTFA for 3 years, 2016, 2017, and 2018. Again, we are doing this because we played the full episode of Mark Basan's documentary. Yeah? We also have interviewed Basant here. We have heard from him. He has done very good work, I believe, certainly, in this regard. We have to give John Williams a fair hearing as well. We always give everybody anyone who is party to any issue gets fair hearing on SportsMax. If someone is party to an issue that you don't see them represented here on, it's because they choose not to come. And even when they choose not to come, we try to get statements, comments from them if they don't want to come themselves. So because we've given Mark Basant fair treatment with fleshing out what his investigation has found, we have to do the same for John Williams to make his case, to respond to what Mark Basant has dug up in his documentary, in his investigations, and that is why we're taking you through so much of what John Williams has said in his 20-page statement. So I ask the team now, based on what we have seen, what do you think of the matter as it continues to develop?
Well, what I do know is Mark Basant's documentary is obviously pitted against David John. What I'm happy about is he felt open enough to speak out, because what could have been worse is if, we were just left with Mark Basant's information at the forefront and we were just left waiting. Of course, they say when you're silent, that's an answer as well. So I'm happy that David John is coming out. Another thing too, George, is we have to remember that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is investigating David John for fraud. Right? So I think within time, we would definitely get some sort of information. They must have had some sort of evidence as to what they're working on. So again, it's sort of like a wait and see process. David John will continue to bring information, and I think his information, well, he's bringing things like documents and financial statements and stamps and all these different things. What I would like to see personally is Mark Basant show us some of his documents.
Well, we saw some of them, didn't we, in the documentary that he put forward. I was intrigued at the start of this segment by George's words that described the former President David John Williams as besieged. A few weeks ago, the besieged former president was William Wallace. And it tells you just how fluid this story is. And both parties are suggesting that they have more information to unleash to the public, who at this moment has such a huge appetite for this story, because Mark Bassant says his investigations are not yet complete and he has more stories to deliver to us. And David John is also saying that he has more ammunition coming to refute a lot of what Mark Bassant has said in his story. And as you said, Mariah, the police is investigating the matter. Now, this is a kind of story that we have to watch unfold while we continue to stay on top of it, because the truth is that David John Williams has put forward in his statement here evidence that First Citizens Bank is the bank that he went through the process with the funding for the home of football and so on. But Mark Bassant, in his investigation, uncovered documents that had RBC and other banks involved. So, you know, at this point, it's a matter of who you choose to believe, or you know, getting to the real truth of the matter, because both sides appear to have stories that appear believable. But I think we've just scratched the surface on this story, and there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, well,
I want to hear your view before. I don't want you to go without telling us.
No, I was going to do that because I'm saying I've only been on one side of this story in the past, because I've done investigative pieces in my previous career in radio, in hard news, and I know how painstaking it is to put things together. And I know when you come forward with something, it's because you're certain. The documents that Mark Bassant has come with, the germ of his story, he believes in his sources and he believes in the authenticity of what he has, and the sources that he has working on who've given him information, those sources are impeccable. So he's certain about what he has. Here comes David John Williams. He stayed true to what he said at the start, that he'd be retaining counsel. He has one of the most reputable law firms or businesses in TNT representing his interests. He says they've cleared him to do this, to put into the public domain this information to counter the information that is there. Again, as I've said in the past about things like these, we have a simple rule in all of this. Our rule is never to pick a side. Our role is to give you the information for you, the viewer, to make your mind up. And even so, whichever way you make your mind up, there's a small matter of a police investigation, as we told you about last week with that statement from senior officers talking about the police person assigned to this matter. They will have a say as well, which could be bigger than your opinion. But all I'm saying is this. I think that there are several questions to ask of both men. Questions to ask Mark, okay, you said so and so, he's put this on the table. What is your rebuttal to that? Because Mark went first, showed his hand. John Williams is bit by bit, drip, 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 responding to some of the allegations, making you think twice or three times about some of what you heard before. Again, the verdict is never ours. Yeah. The verdict is yours, you the public, which is why we've taken so much time to tell you in detail about what both parties are saying. And we will continue to do that. This is the forum. If you want to know what both sides are saying and how the claims and counterclaims intersect, if at all they do, just keep on watching the SportsMax Zone is all I'll say. All right? We'll hear more from Mark for sure, because he's not done. And David John Williams says there's more to come. Back with more in the SportsMax Zone.